I think that we're going to sort of start to wind this up by, the perennial thing. I mean, we've all obviously talked about some films that we care about, but maybe sort of favorite and least favorite, or film that we haven't mentioned yet that we really think warrants talking about one way or the other or both ways. John, do you want to?
Yeah. Well, I guess favorite. They're both. The one was an unexpected surprise. It's not my favorite, but Hardcore Logo 2 I was unexpectedly surprised by. And I feel like I'm the only person in the world.
What? Who liked it?
Who liked it? Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. And then
You're going to have to defend that.
Can I defend it? Do we have time?
You can defend it very briefly.
Okay, very briefly. Because I was soured on Bruce McDonald. I mean, I wrote about it for the magazine, I think, but about the broken social scene movies, kind of feigned geezerish attempts to connect with the youth, which this does not bother with at all. The sort of inherent cynicism of the first film kind of becomes fogey-ish in a way that's kind of pleasant. And I think it's modestly clever and sweet.
And then at the other end of the spectrum?
The other end of the spectrum. Things I don't like about it?
No, just film you don't like.
Oh, film I didn't like. I walked out on Damsel's Night. Snows of Kilimanjaro. I very, very, very much hated. It's one of those things that's based on a Victor Hugo poem, and like Victor Hugo, you just wonder what right these people have talking about the lower classes,
right.
By which the film means the middle classes. And
you had a good line about we need to talk about Kevin.
Oh, I hated we need to talk about Kevin. Was that the line that I hated?
No, you said that...
No, it's sociopathic in the same way that the character is. It has this sort of contempt for middle America. Everyone's fat, everyone's ugly.
You're like, Kevin is the hero.
Yeah, Kevin's the hero of the film. Like, Lars von Trier wishes he directed the Christmas party scene, and we need to talk about Kevin because everyone is so full of contempt and just seething ugliness. So I don't know how anyone could pretend to think that movie is about issues and not just some sort of, thing you could hang up on a wall at a very, very, very needy art gallery. But I feel like nobody liked that, so it's not really a dissenting opinion.
Bob, very quickly, one you like and one you don't. In record speed.
Yeah, the one I'll mention on the like side absolutely is Bela Tarr's The Turin Horse, which is certainly one of the films of the year, premiered in Berlinale, and is coming here, and if you haven't seen it, see it. It's possibly the last film by Bela Tarr, and it's sort of his absorption of Samuel Beckett's sensibility into his own filmmaking. It's amazing work. And worst, there's so many to pick from worst, but sure, my worst nightmare. Anne Fontaine's dreadful French comedy, Belgian comedy, I guess. Benoît Pover, Isabelle Huppert, Andre Dussolier, Aurelio Ricoing. The list goes on of, good, great actors who are absolutely profoundly wasted. Real waste.
For one that I like, I will go the predictable but no less passionate route and say I really enjoyed Kid with a Bike by the Dardennes. I would like to write reviews of people who review Dardenne Brother films. I would like to say that these reviews are quite predictable, that these reviews continue to till the same themes, that I'm quite tired of these reviews. I wish that these reviews would try something new. Sorry, did someone say just like the films? I'm saying these are the criticisms. See, the studio audience finally said something. It took 2 hours. No,
Snarky.
I don't think the films are the same at all. I think that Kid with a Bike, I think
worse.
What's worse?
Kid with a Bike.
Not worse than Lorna's Silence.
Kid with a Bike is not really worse than. There are a lot of things worse than Kid with a Bike.
For the audience.
You're the kid.
No, I think it's a wonderful film that engages with the things that the Dardennes are always making films about, kind of obsessive characters fixated on something, the idea of a kind of broken or unconventional family, always returning to criminality. But these guys are just masters of narrative cinema. And I was talking to someone about this last night. We talk about directors who fixate obsessively on image. You have Julia Lee ripping off Michael Haneke's aesthetics in Sleeping Beauty, or other films that have this very, poised quality where it's impasted on the material. I think the Dardennes keep finding their style out of what the story's about. The camera stays behind a lot in this movie. Characters move away from it. Characters run away from it. There's never been so much choreography between, like away from her. What away from her?
Bike away from
And
it.
Adam, what is your worst?
Bike away from it.
Where's your worst?
388 Arletta Avenue. But I
Brian
wasn't.
De Palma stayed to the end.
Well, Brian De Palma walked out of a lot of movies at TIFF, so if he stayed to the end, I guess that says something. But that's an atrocious movie by Randall Cole. It might actually be worse than Real Time. Just a hateful, awful, terrible movie.
By the way, Hardcore Logo 2 sucks. Anyway.
And Mark will give you
There
the
are
last
two schools of thought.
Mark will give you the last
The
word.
film that we all, I think, liked and didn't talk about yet is This Is Not a Film
Yeah.
by Jafar Panahi, which,
Panahi.
yeah, trust me.
Panahi.
Jafar Panahi, who is, the film is a full-blown high masterpiece of cinema.
Yep.
And the film will be released in Canada, I think. There's just an American distributor who signed on to it a few days ago. And for some reason they showed it here as a free screening, which meant that nobody came to see it, or something like that, which kind of
I saw it in
baffles
a
me.
sold-out packed theater of 80 people. Who
80
didn't
people.
pay a cent to
Yeah.
see it. Yeah.
But it's a film that I think everybody should see, really. It's I don't know, you can read about it, I wrote about it in the magazine, I don't need to say anything more about that. As far as films I've seen here that I despise, I haven't seen that much I really hated. I thought that the Loye film, Love and Bruises, is complete garbage. As I thought it would be, I wasn't surprised. I try not to see films that I think I won't like, as a rule. But there was 2 hours with nothing else to do, so I went in and checked it out, and sure enough, yeah, it was complete garbage.
On that note of complete garbage, we will conclude the Roundtable. I really want to thank everyone who is here, our studio audience. I want to thank our stalwart crew, including Dan, who's been holding a boom mic here for like 2 hours. So thanks very much, and we're done. Thanks.
And the TIFF volunteers.
And the TIFF volunteers.
Yes, to volunteers.